In this video, I'm going to show you how I repin this large format Schlage Primus core. I'm going to show you how I do it, and I'm going to show you first how to repin this to a basic key, and then I will show you later on how to master key this. So the first step that we need to do is we need to disassemble the end cap. And in order to do that, we need to take this spring-loaded pin, push it down, and then we are going to remove the end cap. So you will put this down, you will take out the pin, and then there's a spring inside. Make sure you don't lose that. Put that all together. Now the core looks like this. We have this control sleeve, then we have the cylinder, and let's get ready to take this apart. You're going to need a master follower. This is a follower. What this does is it follows the plug to hold the top pins in place. The back of this is indented to remove the master pins that are in there. So what I did with these keys, these are Schlage Primus keys. If you notice, it has the sidebar, the side milling. And for this video, I was able to get a custom key, a custom side mill to protect my facility code. That way, there's no compromise. So I'm going to take the operating key, in this case, which is a key blank. I'm going to rotate the core. It's very important that you do that. It's very important that you get in the habit of rotating the core about 15 degrees to the left. You don't want to do this. This is one of the worst things you could do when you pull it out. You'll lock the core like that. 15 degrees to the left or to the right. Preference is to do 15 degrees to the left. When you start removing this core, you will need this special tool. This will allow you to put the plug in with the sidebar in it. And when you remove the cylinder, you will put the follower behind, push it out, but you want to make sure that you're holding the sidebar in place. Very important that you hold this sidebar in place. That's a big difference between a regular cylinder and Primus, is that you have to hold this sidebar in place or else it's going to shoot out because it's spring-loaded. And what you do, you'll put it into this tool. Now, if you don't have that, that's fine. You would just have to remove the key and make sure that you don't drop your finger pins. Just make sure you have them in place. You can put it down somewhere. Just make sure that you don't drop those finger pins. So, but in this case, leave it in here. Now you can remove the key. When you remove the key, those finger pins will not have anything to rest on. So if you pull this cylinder out, this plug out, all of those will fall. So what I like to do is this last pin right here is the control pin. This one here. I like to hold on to that while I dump everything else. So now that we have that empty, I'm going to use the master follower to dump all of the master pins, and I want to spin it and then try to go the other way. If I can do that freely, then I know for sure that it's empty. You want to be careful when you pin other manufacturers because this depth is perfect for Schlage, but it's not perfect for Sargent. So sometimes if you use this on a Sargent, it will not work. Sometimes you just have no choice but to recombinate depending on the size of the pins. So now I am going to repin according to this key. I don't remember what the depths are, so I'm gonna have to use my gauge. We have 4, 1, 6, 5, 4, 7. Very simple. We're gonna go to our pinning kit. We have bottom pins, which are all gonna be silver. Those are the ones we're gonna use, just the bottom pins. The bottom pins have points. They look like bullets. People will describe them to you as bullets. From other countries, people have, I had one customer who told me a story. He went to go, or he was in, I believe he was in somewhere in South America, and he had his house rekeyed, and he said somebody showed up on a motorcycle with a bunch of pins and tools in a shopping bag. And he was just telling me how, that experience. But he said that he described these pins as bullets. He said, yeah, the little bullets, the little bullet pins. But the top pins do not have, because they go in between bottom pins and driver pins. Driver pins are essentially the same thing as, they look like bottom pins. They're just numbered differently. So we said 4, 1, 6, 5, 4, 7. So that means we're going to take 4. Oh, before I start that, let me demonstrate one more thing really quick. When we take the key, the anatomy of the key, this one has 6 cuts. Let's see if I can focus this in. Cut number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going from the closest to the bow to the tip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be the number, the chamber numbers. So chamber number 1, chamber number 2, chamber number 3, 4, 5, 6. So the number of this cut, they go from 0 being the shallowest to 9 being the deepest. This one's 4, 1, 6, 5, 4, 7. You never count this first space because you need room to get from the front of the core to the first pin. You need room. It's impossible to have a pin drop immediately from the front. You would need some type of indentation with an exposed spring. So this first little space is never counted as a cut. Therefore, it never needs to be trimmed. Sometimes you'll see the duplicators start trimming this piece or even this area. This area does not need to be trimmed. This area does not need to be trimmed. You're just worrying about the 6 chambers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I will do to make sure I'm doing this right, this is just the basic. We're gonna put 4, 1, 6, 5, 4, 7. So pin, bottom pin number 4 goes in the first chamber, which is right here. 1 goes into the next chamber. 6 goes into the next chamber. 5 goes into the next chamber. 4 goes into the next chamber. And then 7 goes into the last chamber. 4, 1, 6, 5, 4, 7. Now I'm going to take my test key, see if it works. And it does. All those are flush. So normally we can take this out and just put it back in. And it'll work fine. And test it out. When you put this back into the cylinder, you want to make sure that you do not pull on this once it's in. And I always put it at the 15-degree angle. You want to make sure that you do not pull the cylinder out, because since the end cap is out and you turn it at the wrong angle, that thing's gonna pop out. And you're lucky if it doesn't get locked up and seized. So let's try something else. We are going to master key this cylinder. We know that the cuts on this are 416547, and I'm going to master key it. The master key cuts just for today's demonstration are going to be 999999. So on the first chamber, we're going to add a master pin so that both these keys will work. So we have to take both cuts into account. 4 and 9, both of those need to operate. So we already have a bottom pin 4. The difference between 4 and 9 is a 5. So I'm going to put a master pin number 5. Let me see if that works. The next one is a 1. 1 and a 9 is an 8. 6 and 9 is 3. 5, if you add a number 4, you come up with 9. 4, we're going to add a 5, comes up with 9. 7, we'll add a number 2 master pin. Oops. Now what we want to do, yes, loader key. If one of the key characteristics about pinning for Primus is you need a loader key. Loader keys are, you can use a depth key, which is the 9s. You can use that, but most people are going to use the ones that look like this. They're cut in a contour style. But the 9s will work for us. So you stick in your loader key, which is cut to all the lowest depths. You'll pull this out, hold on to the sidebar, and then now you can place, oops, I just spilled these pins. So let me get those real quick. 416, 5, 4, 7. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to pull the cylinder out, that way I can hold it like this. And then I'm going to just load it in, 15 degree. You can even do the 45 degree angle. And it's very important that you put your end cap back on, which first you'll start with the spring. You'll drop the spring in there. Then you'll drop your pin, locking pin, and then start screwing the end cap on. And you'll need to take your tweezers and press the security pin down all the way while you tighten that. And the rule of thumb for me is you'll tighten it all the way down and then back 1. Actually, let me back 2. We'll back 2. Then now let's see if our key works. And keys work. That's the easy way to repin, recombinate your Primus core. Now, if you're going to change the actual sidebar, there's a different process for that. This is the combination for the sidebar. In general, you don't rekey the side milling. In general, you don't. But for this video, we're simply changing the pin stack. Now, the master key formula is going to be done on a separate video, but this is going to be the method that you use for rekeying the Primus cylinder.